Good morning, colleagues. It is my pleasure to welcome you all to the 13th public lecture, which is part of the DVC Research and Innovation Series. It is my pleasure to see colleagues here in the VAL. I call this a public lecture at VAL by VAL colleagues. It is my pleasure also to recognize Prof Linda du Plessis, the DVC Campus Operations VAL Triennial Campus, as well as Integrated Planning. She will be doing the official welcome as the host. I'm doing it in passing as the host of this campus. Thank you so much, Prof Linda and your team, for facilitating this public lecture, for ensuring that we are beautifully seated this morning in a well-ventilated room so that we can engage robustly on a very topical issue of entrepreneurship. Really looking at how research, teaching and learning can be linked when discussing a topical issue like entrepreneurship. Colleagues, I'm sure you'll agree with me that societal problems do not require people who think wearing work gloves. You've got to think outside the box. And thinking outside the box means integration. You've got to integrate what you teach with what you are researching, because if you are teaching and not researching, what are you teaching? And if you are researching but caring less about teaching, what are you addressing? How do you know what is needed, to be inquired upon or to research on if you do not know what the needs in teaching are? So basically, we are saying all of these are part of the same coin. They have to speak to each other if we are solution bound. But if we are bound by the rhetoric or by the conventions, to just focus on what I'm doing, I get into the lecture room and lecture and get out, we will continue to think, in that work club manner. I feel like Africans this morning. Yeah. In that work, we are saying, and I've got a few very important points that I picked, which is that research can be teaching influenced, and that the link between teaching and research is not unidirectional. It can be either way. That bringing teaching and research together can be a reciprocal experience. And that if we are aiming for quality, excellence, and impact, we have no other choice. With those few words, I would like to invite Prof Linda as she comes up here. I don't want to forget to greet colleagues in Mafikeng campus who are connected via live streaming. I don't want to forget colleagues in Potchefstroom who are also connected via live streaming, and all the other interested parties, industry partners, communities that are connected via live streaming. So the whole world is joining us, people from different parts of the world. So I won't stand up after sitting down. I wish our presenters good luck as they share their experiences with us. Over to you, Prof Linda.
Thank you, Prof Refilwe. That was well said. Good morning, colleagues. Colleagues here with us, colleagues at VAL, colleagues at Mafikeng. Welcome to this public lecture, I think on a very relevant and interesting topic. How do we integrate research and teaching and learning from an entrepreneurial perspective? Now, besides being a national imperative, this is very important to the Northwest University, because this is part of something we promise the students as part of our student value proposition. In the Northwest University strategy, we state that one of our goals is to make our students familiar with the background, the intellectual skills, and the instruments to become autonomous researchers. But we also say, when a Northwest University student graduates, they should be able to be responsible and engaged members of society. They should be knowledgeable, highly educated individuals and professionals. They should be innovative, critical thinkers. They must be principled leaders, effective communicators, and skilled collaborators and team members. Now, government has, as part of its national development strategy, to create more jobs. They want to revitalize industrial parks. They want to take jobs to the people. They indicate the intention to establish the township and rural entrepreneurship funds. But I think you will agree that to do all of that, you need young people with the right skills, attitude, and support networks to do exactly that. In 2018, President Cyril Ramaphosa opened the National Summit, and he stated, "We gather here today to answer the call of the people of South Africa for decent work. We have gathered here as social partners, having agreed on a broad range of measures that we need to create to provide these jobs." And then he said, as we all know, unemployment is the greatest challenge facing our country. Unemployment, poor health system, poverty, crime. But it all boils down to people having a decent living. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is in a nutshell our challenge as Northwest University as well. And today we are looking forward to listening to 4 colleagues from the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences on this very relevant topic. And they are Professor Herman van der Merwe, the Deputy Dean for Teaching and Learning of the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences, Mr. Johan Landsberg, Ms. Leonie, Greyling, and Dr. Natanya Meyer. Annelies Steenkamp. Sorry, Annelies Steenkamp, welcome to you as well. And we're looking forward to hear your insights and also the role that we as colleagues, students of the Northwest University can play. And thank you, Prof Refilwe, for organizing this. I hope this is the beginning of many more fruitful engagements around this topic.
Thank you very much, Prof Linda. Colleagues, a hearty welcome. It's fantastic to see you all here. And to some of my friends and colleagues from Europe as well, hi to all of them. I thought about this whole thing when Prof Refilwe contacted me with regard to the whole notion of, what we do with entrepreneurship and integrating that in our teaching and learning program. So I coined our title, Teaching and Learning and Research and Innovation, 2 sides of the same coin. So let's maybe explore a little bit what we do and how we do things in the faculty. I just want to say that this is a Creative Commons presentation, so you're more than welcome to use it as you see fit. Right, but before we go on, let's do a bit of mathematics. Let's get the things going. You know what, talking about, bietjie Afrikaans today, hoofrekening. Who of you had hoofrekening at school when you were younger? A few of us had hoofrekening at school. Please come in. And maybe a bit of a hoofrekening to you. Let's quickly have a look. If you can please calculate to me 30 divided by a half plus 10. It's easy, no? Very easy. Is it 10, 15, 20, 25, 30? Shout the number. 25? You said? What did you say? 70? 25, 70? 15, 10? Let's maybe look at it. Sugar. If you divide 30 by a half, then you get 60, plus 10 was 70. So just to get your minds up and running. I suddenly saw someone. I suddenly saw, did I make a mistake somewhere? No, you didn't make a mistake. Because you want to say 25. That's a very easy one. Yeah, but nonetheless, so whatever you do is not that obvious in life. And that's why I think we want to share with you, although it's very stupid, it's very simple, it's sometimes there. Maybe a roadmap. I think it's very important for us to know where we're going, because if you know where you're going, then at least you can plan for that. A little bit of an intro, background, setting the scene. Then we're going to talk about the students. Students has got the Yebo and the enactors part of there. We're going to talk about our female entrepreneurship program. That's our flagship program. And all of that we do as a community engagement project, but to enable people to do things. Then we're going to talk about the research. We're going to reflect on the yesterday, the today, and maybe some future scenarios regarding research and the use of entrepreneurial research in teaching and learning, but to do real-life research to contribute to the bottom line of what we're there. And then we're going to finalize with some questions. Please have your questions ready. I've got 4 excellent colleagues, and they can answer very, very difficult questions. So please make sure that we ask them those difficult questions. I like that. Right, colleagues, we really, really looked at the market. We explored every inch of what we can do to see how we can actually look at entrepreneurship. So with all those needs in mind, we'll also love to share. As I said, this is a Creative Commons presentation. We also love to share. So you're more than welcome to do what this guy did when he said, yeah, well, you can use my ATM card. Here's the PIN code. So you're more than welcome to use the presentation. The PIN code will follow. Right. We really want to be innovative. So to be innovative, you really need to think differently about things and not just look the things right in the eye. But we want to teach someone to fish rather than give him a fish. You remember that? That's a very simple type of thing, right? And in the faculty, we removed the whole notion of the degree that gets you the job to where we are, where we say we want the degree that creates jobs. So that's sort of where we are at the moment. And I think let's maybe ask Natanya to come and share with you. Remember what I said? We're first going to look at the students, then our initiatives in the female entrepreneurship. Then we're going to really look at the hardcore research, and then we'll finish. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I think I would just like to thank Prof Refilwe and Prof Herman for giving us this opportunity to showcase our passion for entrepreneurship with all of you in this room and out there. Hello, everyone there. I heard this is streaming to the world, so hello, world. Okay, so Prof Herman asked me to just elaborate a little bit more on YEBO and what we do with that. So YEBO stands for Young Entrepreneurs Business Organization, and you'll see Prof Herman is an excellent innovator regarding abbreviations. You'll see that more than once during this slide or this presentation, and he came up with a abbreviation YEBO, which stands, as I said, for Young Entrepreneurs Business Organization. So just to give a little bit of a background, who is YEBO? YEBO was established in 2013, and it's a registered student society affiliated with the Student Campus Council. The purpose of YEBO, as Prof said, is clearly to create an entrepreneurial culture among students and to promote student entrepreneurship. So just to give you a background of some of the activities we do, and this is, every year we do a whole variety of these activities with students, and the specific students is not only relevant to one faculty or those studying business management. We open it to all students throughout the campus who are actually interested in entrepreneurship, regardless of which degree they're studying or in which faculty they are registered. So just to give you an idea, so we do idea generation with them because we see that many times they really do want to start something, but they're lacking the idea or where to get ideas to get feasible businesses. Then we do business model canvas and a whole lot of other real teaching activities with them to give them some background on how to draw up a business plan or work with a business model canvas. Then very interesting, what we love to do with them is we like to then get them to pitch their idea in front of a panel of experts, and normally we get a lot of people from the community, businesses, from the Chamber of Commerce, to actually sit on the panel and listen to what ideas they have and give them some input. And we try to link that with a little bit of prize money just to hype it up a bit. And then 2 of our flagship programs, which we are very, very proud of, is our Student Entrepreneurship Week, which has been running now for the 2nd year. So this year will be the 3rd year. Now, Student Entrepreneurship Week is an initiative that's supported by USAF and the DHET. And as Prof Refilwe and Prof Leonie and Prof Herman mentioned, how important this whole issue of entrepreneurship is, not only on where we are on ground level, but it's actually coming from way above government, etc. So we're very proud to be part of this great initiative that's clearly managed very, very well by USAF and the Department of Higher Education under the project name EDI. So EDI stands for Entrepreneurship Development in Higher Education. And under the guidance of Dr. Nora Clark, this is really something that's spread out through all universities in South Africa and also in TVETs as well. So they have a lot of training and really promoting entrepreneurship amongst students. And then also the student business competition, which from last year has also got a new name, Leopard's Lair, which we've done in collaboration also with some of our other campuses. I think the final was with our teaching and innovation conference last year on Potch. So we're very proud of that as well. Then as this whole idea today is to incorporate the teaching and learning with research, we also want to link how we teach the students through what we do. So all of the events has got some sort of a teaching aspect, so where we try to get students to come in with less knowledge than what they leave. So we try to give them some skill that they can use afterwards. And we also have something that we do where we get a lot of students who actually knows what's happening and perhaps have a student business to also discuss and give some of these workshops with the students, because we feel that sometimes peer-to-peer transfer of knowledge is more acceptable to students than having this high professor or business person who's been in it for 10 or 20 years trying to tell them how to do it. So many times we use students as well to promote these events. And then also just to link with research, because we do believe that's very important. We do a lot of research on students and the specific cohort. And just to give you a background of some of the articles that we've written specifically in this section, the one topic was an investigation into factors affecting young people's entrepreneurial intention. Almost done, my time is good. Youth unemployment dilemma, whose baby is it anyway? That was the title of the article. Student attitude towards entrepreneurship, and there we looked at a South African Dutch perspective. And then the last one, creating an enabling entrepreneurial culture among students through entrepreneurship development programs. Those are just among some of the articles we've actually published and presented on international level in journals and conferences. So thank you for your time, and I'll hand over to the next speaker.
Thanks, Natanya. Annelie?
Good morning to our guests and colleagues. I'm here to tell you more about Enactors. Enactors is an international non-profit organization that focuses on social entrepreneurship. The organization is dedicated to inspire students to improve the world through entrepreneurial action, and have also taken on the work of achieving the 17 global goals for sustainable development. The organization provides a platform for teams to create community development projects based on the specific needs of the region. Students are required to conduct a needs assessment in their respective communities, meeting with the people they want to empower in order to obtain a better understanding of the economic, social, and environmental factors at play in their livelihoods. The Enactors team, together with the stakeholders, then come up with a project and entrepreneurial approach that empowers the very same people, thereby allowing them a voice and a stake in their own outcome. This is achieved with guidance from the educators and support from business leaders. Like in business, Enactors believe that competition encourages creativity and rewards results. An annual series of regional and national competition provides a forum for teams to showcase the impact of their outreach efforts. In every country that operates an Enactors program, the judging criteria remains the same. Which Enactors team most effectively use entrepreneurial action to empower people to improve their livelihoods in an economically, socially, and environmentally sustainable way. Teams are evaluated by executives serving as judges on the day of the competition, and the winners advance to the prestigious Enactors World Cup being held in Silicon Valley this year. Let me proceed by telling you a little bit more about the project closer to home, those we are currently busy with across our 3 campuses. The team in Mafeking identified food and organic waste as an opportunity to assist small farmers in the area to convert it into organic compost to enhance the yields of their crops. The Lesego Soap project was an initiative from the students in Potchefstroom. The beneficiaries in this case are a couple of grandmothers at an old age home. Used soaps are collected from various bed and breakfast establishments and recycled to a soap, which are then sold to the community. The MTN Computerfied originated at the Vaal campus and was a competition project that won first place last year within the category Special Competition. The old police station in Sharpeville have been identified as the site where inactive students and academia started training basic computer literacy to the community, as well as entrepreneurial and business management skills to the various survivalist entrepreneurs in the area. The university already sponsored 10 computers, and the team further won 5 laptops from the competition. MTN will also come on board to upgrade the site and provide data for the training. So the alignment, or the golden thread, of this student association starts with providing entrepreneurial and business management training to inactive students from Actors South Africa themselves and the BIF Enterprise Development Center. Through entrepreneurial action, students deploy business innovation to improve the human conditions and enable sustainable human progress. The work of Enactors transforms not only the lives of people, but also the lives of our students as they gain practical entrepreneurial exposure and develop into more effective, values-driven leaders. Finally, the outcomes of these projects serve as focus areas for research. I hereby invite every student, academic, and business leader that has not yet done so to join Enactors and collaborate to create a better world for us all. Thank you.
Thanks, Annelie. So you can see that how we try to organize all of these events and to see that. Leonie, enterprising woman, please.
Hey. Good morning, everybody. So I'm going to talk to you about the enterprising woman. So in terms of the program, this is a business development program for women that either have an idea to start a business or who recently started and need a little bit of help to kind of get the wheels going and so on. So as Professor Herman mentioned, it is considered to be the flagship program of the BHI VDC, and it's fully sponsored by the Northwest University. So the way that it works is we ask them for a 1,500 Rand deposit just to make sure that they're committed to the program and that they go with us for the long haul. If they complete the program successfully, it is refunded. If they leave the program of their own accord or they don't make the milestones and we have to exit them, then they forfeit the deposit, which we then use to plow back into the program again. But to be honest, we haven't had that many exits thus far. So the outcome of the program is they receive a short learning program certificate. So for some people, you know, that is very important to be able to say, I was with the Northwest University and I completed a accredited course and so on. So it was initiated in 2013. So we're currently in our 10th round already. And we are in the process of ramping up our impact. So we initially started in Van der Bijl Park only. Then we introduced a SASOL program. So it's also offered in the Vaal on the Northwest University campus. But that is fully sponsored by SASOL. Last year, we started rolling it out to Mafeking. So Johan and I have just done the slogging up and down to Mafeking for a couple of months. And we've completed the first round of the program in Mafeking. So initially, when we start a program in a new area, it tends to be a little bit on the slow side until we get some traction and the program becomes known. But in Mafeking, we have 10 graduates that completed the program last year. And our intention is to also roll it out to Potchefstroom this year. So if you look at the numbers, and we're going to look at them just now, you'll see that us ramping up the program is going to significantly enhance the impact that we're having, in that we are expecting for this year 50 to 60 graduates from the Enterprising Women program. So these are the women that graduated from 2013 to last year. So it doesn't include the Mafeking round yet because they've not yet had their graduation ceremony. Then let's talk a little bit about the impact of the program. So in terms of the participants, there's obviously the benefit of being empowered to actually start and run a business. Then there's also personal development. So for people that have been actively involved in the program, they can attest to the fact that a lot of the development that we see is in terms of soft skills, confidence, presentation ability, the kind of thing that you would not ordinarily get with another, let's say, academic undertaking necessarily. So far we've had 105 graduates, of which about 60% of them go ahead to actually establish successful businesses. So if you consider that in the bigger scheme of things, typically we only have a success rate of about 20% in terms of general entrepreneurship, 60% is a fabulous number, and we're very proud of that. And as I mentioned, we're ramping up our impact by rolling it out to Potchefstroom and Mafeking. So if you consider that so far we've had 105 graduates in 6 years, and we're hoping to have 50 to 60 graduates this year, you can see that our impact is really starting to make a change. In terms of the community, so there's involvement of industry experts. So we try and bring on some industry experts, and we have some of them sitting right here that have actually participated in presenting workshops, doing some coaching and mentoring and so on. There's obviously job and wealth creation, because for the most part, these were women that were either unemployed or they had been, by choice, housewives or house moms, whatever you call it nowadays. Home executives, yes, they were home executives. So we equipped them to become a business executive in addition to being able to be a home executive. There's obviously greater quality of living, because if they have an income, whereas in the past they didn't have, there's a greater quality of living not only for themselves but for their families as a unit. And in terms of the community, and this is very important, we're helping to establish entrepreneurial role models. So especially in terms of females, there haven't been that many entrepreneurial role models, and they haven't actually been exposed to entrepreneurial role models. So this will definitely have an impact on the future of South Africa in terms of entrepreneurship, because the youngsters that have come through these homes where the mom has actually gone ahead to establish a business has had a role model, and we're hoping that they will go ahead and do the same and not just look to government or big business for employment. Then in terms of the impact on the Northwest University and research, so we have staff involvement and development, because we try to use some of the other lecturers, some of the other Northwest University staff to actually present the program. And this is where all of you from Northwest University can play a role, especially if we are rolling out the program and hoping to get greater impact. We need more people to play a role in terms of helping us to manage the workshops and to do the mentoring and coaching. Johan and I, just two little bodies, and we need many more to help us with that. Then what we're also doing is through the program, we're also working towards establishing a female entrepreneurship niche, specifically with the intention of being able to say that the Northwest University becomes known for doing female entrepreneurship research, and also for encouraging female entrepreneurship and helping them to establish businesses. So far, we've had an MBA that has been conducted on the Enterprising Women program from Annelie. Then Natanya Meyer, who recently completed her PhD, she used the Enterprising Women as input into her research. Obviously, it was wider than just the Enterprising Women program, and she's going to tell you a little bit about just now. But it also inputted into that. And then there's the intended research. So both Johan and I are currently working on proposals to do PhDs, specifically on the Enterprising Women program, and we're going to talk to you about that a little bit later as well. And the intention is that through doing this kind of research, we enhance the program so that we can roll it out further, that we could have a greater impact in terms of wealth creation and economic impact and so on. That's it. Thank you very much.
Right, thank you very much, Leonie. Now, so those of you who feel that you may or can contribute to the Female Entrepreneurship Program, if you've got a skill or maybe something that you'd like to share with us, please come and talk to us, because we'd like to also share your expertise with some other people. I'm going to hand over to Johan Landsberg, the manager of our Beehive Enterprise Development Center.
Good morning, everybody. So, yeah, just to be clear, we're not just helping female entrepreneurs. So I need to talk about what we do for the males and females outside of the program. Okay. Yeah. So again, Prof Herman was quite busy with his acronyms. So I'm sure you've wondered, what the hell does Beehive mean? So hopefully after this, you will remember. I never remember the detail. I blame it on the color of my hair. So the Beehive is a very long acronym. It stands for Bridging Business and Education by establishing a hub of innovative ventures and expertise. So that was B square EE Hive. That is the long version of the acronym. But being blonde, we thought maybe it's better to just shrink it a bit. So you can see that little gentleman has got the right idea. David is way too long, so he's just DVD. So by doing that, oh no, that wasn't what I was supposed to do. So that's how we got to Beehive. Okay, so nothing to do with bees, but maybe we'll ask one or two of you afterwards if you can still remember. I'm still battling, by the way. Okay, so we have a general incubation program that we also run in the Beehive, and that's for both male and female-owned businesses. So there we don't discriminate against the males anymore. There's 4 phases to the program. There's an early start, which is the focus is on pre-startup and startup. And that's typically what we do in the Enterprising Women program as well. The focus is on the guys that's really just starting out. But you also get people that's been in business for a while and feel they just need to upscale. Or the ladies completing their Enterprising Women program and still feel they just lack that little bit of confidence to really take this business and run with it. And for that, we have the setting up to win phase, where we take them by the hand and really help them to establish the business. And then there's also operationalize and business growth. So depending on your business, we can slot you in somewhere in our incubation process. So it could be that you've been in business for 20 or 30 years, but a lot has changed in the past 30 years. So maybe it's time for you to really reevaluate your business and come up with a more relevant business plan. Then we can slot you in at operationalize or even at business growth. So there's a lot of opportunities. Now, just as with the Enterprising Women program, there's a couple of ways that we host the incubation process. Obviously, there's workshops, but we also use the business chamber and other experts to do coaching and mentoring, and also our academics. And we also use the growth wheel tools to evaluate businesses and to help them grow. So growth wheel is a very powerful tool. Our focus areas stay our students, female entrepreneurs, but then any entrepreneur from our community are welcome to join the program. So for me, the impact, as I see it, is if we can help a business grow and that business can create more jobs, we have a positive impact on our communities. The other side of it, in terms of research, the academics are also involved in the program. So all of these business people can become the subject of some sort of research, where we plow it back into the program. Okay, and that's my story. Thank you. And again, I'll switch it off.
Right, so you've heard now that, I don't know whether you've heard, but we never ever say that it is only for economic and management science students. So what we do is we do this across the board, and we invite everybody to take part in what we do in our endeavor to actually get to a better end product, to, at the end of the day, make a difference in people's lives. I think that's at the end, that's what we want to do. And as we've said right there in the beginning, research and teaching and learning, now you've seen, we play a lot. Prof Refilwe, you see these people, they don't work, eh? They just play. So, but the playing is fantastic. And with that playing comes a lot of research, a lot of things that they can do. And I think for the next part of our presentation, we'd just like to focus a bit more on the research side of our business. So now we're playing, now we're going to get a bit more serious about the research. And I'll ask Natanya. So this is also today, you'll also at the end, we want to establish a research niche area in entrepreneurship. And so we will keep you posted on that.
Yes, so my turn again. So I am here to tell you a little bit more about my PhD study, which I completed. I graduated last year in October. So I just want to wish my colleagues who's only starting this process the best of luck, because I know what you're still going to go through. You don't know, I know, so good luck. But at the end of the day, it's so worth it. So just byt vas. Well, we're on the Afrikaans today. And also Prof Babs, I would like to just say thank you. He was one of my promoters, one of the best promoters there could be. So I was lucky to have him. Okay, so my specific focus of my PhD was on South African female entrepreneurs' intention to remain in business. Now, as Prof Herman and Johan said, we did use some of the enterprising women as the sample. However, I actually extended it to include female entrepreneurs from all 9 provinces because we wanted to actually have see a bigger picture than just the Vaal, and because currently it's only mostly people from the Vaal. The other extensions of the program only started recently. Okay, so the purpose of my study, as I said, was to look specifically at what factors influences or motivates females to remain in business. Now, what makes this study a little bit different than other studies is many of the other studies focused on the motivation to actually start a business. So we couldn't find actually any studies in this topic on why people who are already in business remain there despite very difficult economic factors and conditions that we face every day. So just to give you an overview of some of the main findings, which was quite interesting for us, we found that female entrepreneurs have a strong intention to remain in their businesses and actually grow them. So the intention is there to grow, but they don't really get to grow them. And there's other factors that I know some of my other colleagues will be investigating on. What are the restraining factors for them to actually get from just being a normal, small-sized business to actually being a high-growth business? They have a very positive attitude towards their business, despite many challenges. I think that's a female thing. We are sometimes optimistic even despite some challenges in our lives. Yes, resilient. Thank you, Prof. The 3 main variables, attitude towards business, intention to remain in business, and the business growth was very, very strongly correlated to each other, meaning that if a female had a good attitude towards her business, there was definite correlation to also intending to stay in business and eventually grow the business. There was a relationship between many of the entrepreneurial factors influencing South Africa female entrepreneurs, and there were so many, I don't want to go into the detail. And then what was noticeable was that female entrepreneurs' attitude towards growth factors and their internal motivation, which includes aspects like independence, work-life balance, pursuing a challenge, contributing to society, and family security, amongst others, provided the highest contribution and could thus be regarded as key predictors of female entrepreneurs' intention to remain in business. And I think that's what makes many female businesses stand out, is that they are not orientated to be this high-profit, high-growth businesses, but rather to have an impact in their community. And I think that is why there should be such a focus on enhancing the female entrepreneurs within communities, because they really care about what's happening around them. I'm not saying the men are not, please don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying many females have that caring to first give to the community before, looking after their own bank account and that type of thing. Okay, further findings suggested that there were many significant differences between groups. What we did is we looked at age groups. If you were below 40 or above 40, how was it impacting all the factors that we looked at? Your race, for example. We looked at if you had a male or a female entrepreneur within your life growing up, so either a parent or a sibling or an aunt or uncle that was entrepreneurial, how did that affect all the factors we looked at? and there were some differences in some of these. And then the most interesting finding from this analysis indicated that internal motivation, as I mentioned earlier, again had the most impact on female entrepreneurs. So in my opinion, the contribution of this study to the bigger field of entrepreneurship would be specifically female entrepreneurship development is a fairly new topic in the literature. If you go and look, I think the first article that actually spoke about female entrepreneurship was in 1976 only. Before then, it was only referred to males, because we know why. Back in the old day, women were not business people. They were bound to homework and home executives. So it is a relatively new area of focus of research if you look back in history. And then specifically with regards to developing countries, a lot of that research that's been done from 1976, etc., was mostly in America and developed countries. And we clearly know that there are differences in how females operate businesses and run businesses due to external factors. So there's also a real demand for looking at more female entrepreneurship research in specifically developing countries. And then, as I mentioned, there were not studies that I could find measuring the intention of females to actually remain in business and what motivates them to stay in business amongst difficult economic factors. And then a small number of studies actually looked at the ambition of females to grow their business. And I feel that the study mainly contributed to this gap, identifying reasons why females to decide to continue being entrepreneurs despite depressed economic conditions. Now, although this was a PhD, we've done also a lot of articles on female entrepreneurship, specifically looking at little things that we focused on, that also has been presented internationally and published in international peer-reviewed journals. So we're very proud of that. Okay, thank you.
Right, so thank you very much. So you can see that there's some seriousness with regard to what we do as well. So that's a completed PhD, and I'm going to ask then Leonie, Johan, and Annelie to share with us their research that they're currently conducting with regard to entrepreneurship and what is happening.
Okay, so if we have a look at the state of female entrepreneurship in South Africa, the current position, so I think Natanya touched on it. So typically females in South Africa, they start businesses partly because they wish to be self-employed and partly because they wish to have the flexibility to actually manage family and work. So profit making is not necessarily their primary motive. In fact, quite often, we work with women that just want to make a difference in the community, and they don't understand that you actually, even if you are a not-for-profit company or you want to make a difference in the community, you still need to earn good revenue to keep that not-for-profit ticking over. So they sometimes tend to forget about the financial aspect of starting a business, and they really, as Natanya said, they really just want to make a difference. Okay, so that is, in terms of their intentions, why they typically start businesses. Then if we look at the business concepts that they start, typically driven by social impact, as we mentioned, predominantly service-based. So very few of the businesses that we have worked with, and in terms of female-owned businesses generally, are actually manufacturing or product-based. They're very often service-based businesses like hairdressing salons, event organizing, florists, that kind of thing. That means there's limited innovation. So what we're finding quite often is that there's a lot of what we term Me Too businesses. So a lot of businesses that, if you go and have a look, that there are many others around, and they tend to just duplicate what is already available. So obviously we try and work with, if we're running the Enterprising Women program, we try to work with them to find a unique selling proposition, because that is what makes the business successful, but that is not necessarily something that they inherently think of. Then obviously there's low scalability. Because if you think about a hairdressing salon or a beauty salon or events organizing company, it's typically not very scalable. So maybe you can scale it to 1 or 2 branches or a franchise or something, but typically not very scalable and typically not the kind of business that you could take into the rest of Africa or internationally. Then in terms of the business development, that means that these businesses very often remain micro or small businesses, and they don't tend to get beyond a point where you can consider them to actually be in a growth stage, and certainly not a business that is a large entity. typically employs only the founder or very few individuals, and they make a limited economic contribution. So absolutely they make a contribution, but it is somewhat limited in terms of the actual monetary value of what they bring to the table and in terms of job creation and so on. So the research that I tend doing, as we said, you know, these businesses, and we've seen it with the Enterprising Women Program, research has proven it, including Natanya's study, that you know, businesses remain small with limited growth potential. So my intention is to look at entrepreneurial identity as it is considered to be a key input to entrepreneurs' thoughts. So it influences the nature of the businesses that they start, it influences how they respond to adversity when they're running their businesses, etc. So the question that I'm posing is, how may entrepreneurship identity be unlocked or shaped to bring about a shift in aspirations from small livelihood businesses to those that are actually considered to be value creating? Ultimately, what I'd like to do is to develop guidelines for the development of female entrepreneurial identity, which we will then plow back into the Enterprising Women Program to enhance it as we see necessary, and also can be used wider in the South African context in terms of working with other programs and generally enhancing female entrepreneurship, so that we can really, you know, dig deep and find women that can actually run a business that is a little bit more sustainable, more scalable, and really has a greater impact. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonie. Right, so with this study, we also intend to branch out in a Cototel agreement with either Rotterdam or Delft. We are busy at this stage negotiating the Cototel. Now, Cototel, for those of you, it's a dual degree, that the degrees will be offered in South Africa as well as an international degree. So then, Johan.
Thanks, Herman. So, okay, you've heard that we've been hosting the Enterprising Women program since 2013. And yes, Leonie was initially tasked to develop the program. And since 2013, after each and every program, we sit and we really look at what has worked and what hasn't worked. But we did a bit of tweaking, if you want to call it that, not major changes to the program. So we now feel we've been at it for long enough that it's maybe time that we really re-evaluate the program and make sure that we're still on the right track and that we optimize what we do. So we obviously want to help as many female entrepreneurs as possible. We must make sure that we're still aligned with the NWU strategy, strategic focus. And what I want to have a look at is what is considered to be best practices in the rest of the world. Because if we continue with the program as is, we cannot reach so many individuals as we would like to. So we need to change our focus and maybe say it's time that we use the internet and say some of our content must be online, but we still want to do face-to-face workshops as well. But in this manner, we maybe will be possible to reach more people. So my question is, how may the Enterprising Women program be made more accessible by offering it as a multimodal program with online as well as face-to-face content? Thanks.
Right, and Annelie will then look at the student entrepreneurship side.
Thank you, Prof. Okay, so what does the future world of work look like? Nobody can really say, but what we do know is that it is uncertain. One of the most crucial challenges facing today's youth is finding gainful employment in the fast-paced, globalized social and economic environment. The key requisites for surviving in this environment include being self-directed, adaptable, and having a positive mindset. The challenging and ever-changing landscape of the work environment requires a new and different set of abilities and skills in order to fully utilize the opportunities present and to meet the challenges of future careers. One of these 21st century adaptability skills is the entrepreneurial mindset. There's a growing articulation of the notion of the entrepreneurial mindset as being central to employability in a wide range of personal and organizational contexts. Entrepreneurial skills no longer only apply to venture creation, but also to entrepreneurship in established organizations. The European Union describes this mindset as a key competence for all, helping young people to be creative and confident in whatever they undertake. The underlying rationale is on the necessity for individuals to have the capacity to innovate, create, cope, and enjoy uncertainty and complexity in a globalized world as workers, entrepreneurs, consumers, and members of a family and community. Many South Africans have a low regard for their entrepreneurial capabilities, and at the heart of the issue are the attitudes or the mindsets they grew up with, as well as the circumstances they find themselves in when looking for work or starting a business. Despite the relative scarcity of active entrepreneurs in modern society, the majority of the youth have favorable attitudes towards entrepreneurship. But the discrepancy between entrepreneurial attitudes and actions highlights the importance of fostering the development of an entrepreneurial mindset amongst the youth through educational programs and curricula, mentorships, and funding opportunities. With particular reference to the influence of the Fourth Industrial Revolution, the education system needs to teach competencies at every level of schooling that are relevant to the modern economy, that equip people with the ability to work in a complex digital environment, think critically, and solve problems. Higher education institutions in South Africa are being judged by the ways in which they respond to social and economic needs of society, their programs and actions to enhance graduate employability, the ways in which they stimulate innovation, the creation of new enterprises, as well as their contributions to local and national economic growth. Since innovation is regarded as an outcome of entrepreneurial and enterprising ways of doing, universities are increasingly under pressure to develop graduates who are entrepreneurial minded. Therefore, my research will measure the entrepreneurial mindset of our students across the 3 campuses in order to establish how programs may be enhanced to aid the development of a mindset conducive to entrepreneurship. Thank you.
Thanks, Annelie. Annelie will be pursuing a master's degree, and we wish all of you the best of luck with regard to that. But I don't know who of you now really feels, I want to do research on entrepreneurship. I knew that. So, but don't despair. We said right there in the beginning, 2 sides of the same coin. And I said to you, by playing, you actually stop working. By integrating whatever you do on your everyday life is actually at the end of the day, not just contributing to the research and the research output, but also contributing to the students' experience of what they. I remember many moons back, people said to me, but I'm in humanities. I'm not an entrepreneur. And I said, but you guys are excellent entrepreneurs as well. And we found that in our yearbook program, where students come up with business ideas, fabulous business ideas. That's not necessarily from the Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences. So you don't need to be in the faculty to be an entrepreneur. But we know that in our faculty, the degree will create jobs if you do that. Right. So why are we doing this? I mean, there's always this big question on why are we doing it. Now, we really, by doing this, remember 2 sides of the same coin. We want to contribute to teaching and learning, but also to the research and to the experience. I say we want to really enhance the interaction between students and the lecturers. But we also want to enhance the interaction between students themselves with what we do. And if you do it in an entrepreneurial way or get them stuff to do, we found that that is the way to do. But we also want everybody to interact with external experts. So if we just do our own thing here on campus, you tend to inbreed, and that inbreeding is not that good unless you've got a very good plan. So if we can then do that to everybody else, we're going to enhance our curriculum with regard to that. So To do this, why do we do this? We enhance the teaching experience, so the lecturers start to play instead of working. We respect the diverse talents and the different ways of learning, because it's different ways of learning that you actually, at the end of the day, create an environment, an entrepreneurial environment, so that we can find people and hope in learning and the joy in teaching, because that's what we're here for. Is that at the end of the day, to really not just do the teaching part, but enjoy what we do. And I think in this way, we really try to do that. So if we say that teaching, learning, research, our strategy is there, so we embed our research within a wider strategy. We enable our people. We use technology. All of you know that I'm a technology type of person, but we use the technology. We use collaboration and benchmarking. And in the middle, we really find our hotspot if we then go to the people, the industry, and the community in what we do. Right. So Neil Armstrong said, it's one small step for a man, giant leap for mankind. So if I can end up saying that in a partnership, because alone we won't be able to do it. So in a partnership, together we can take hands and touch and change lives. And that computer is in my office. So if you want to have some coffee, I've got good coffee in my office. You're more than welcome to come and join, especially on a Wednesday morning. I've got what I call a creative coffee between 8 and 9, and come and have a cup of coffee. Let's talk about how we can really touch and change lives in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Wow, am I? Oh, okay. Yes, yes. Exciting. Maybe I should sit before I fall down because of excitement. Colleagues, I'm sure that the executive deans that are here with us, I saw Prof Eno Ebenzo of the Faculty of Natural and Agricultural Sciences, the executive dean, as well as Prof Sona. Yes, I was going to mention her because she particularly wanted to know how can she be connected to this session, who is the executive dean of Faculty of Economic and Management Sciences, where this whole amazing initiative resides. And I'm sure the deputy deans here, Prof Babs Surudlal, who also was one of the promoters of one of our very interesting PhDs, and Prof Washington Dudu, I'm sure, and school directors that are here, and entity directors, and all academic staff and students, I'm sure you'll agree with me that we are just short of one thing, to just organize this into a center of excellence. I thought you'll clap hands. This beautiful work must be told. We have to find avenues of permeating the office of the presidency. By the way, the advisor, not on record, of the president is my former boss. So they've got to know about the great work that we are doing. Everybody, like one of the speakers mentioned, is looking to higher educational institutions, to bring solutions to our current societal problems. And unemployment, job creation, economic development in this time of financial austerity, it's such a topical issue. So we need to take this vavavoom, to South Africa and to the world out there. I'm very, very thrilled. And, one other thing, I became a bit emotional during the course of the presentation because I'm a daughter of an entrepreneur. I know how it's like to develop personally. When you are involved in entrepreneurship, you learn to negotiate, you develop your self-concept, that assertiveness, because you've got to share your products. I was doing house to house on Sundays to sell stuff, and I had to convince people that, this tray it's gonna serve your husband very nicely, you know. And I did it wholeheartedly because I knew that I was part of the money that was generated from there. I would go to church youth camps, and at school I would have pocket money, and so I felt I was in charge. So now, and that almost died off when I went to university, you know, because then I was taught that, you know, you've got to learn and be employed and work and, you know, but thankfully I believe very strongly that those attributes that I developed, they still enhanced my own higher education learning. And so today, to sit here and listen at a higher education institution level, what can we do to really respond to societal challenges through such a marvelous, and you educate a woman, you educate the nation. That's the Xhosa version of it. That is the truth, that is the reality. We cannot run away from it. Women are in charge of our society. Men are great supporters. And I'm not a feminist. That is just the truth. So colleagues, we have this on hashtag NWU research. I'm talking now also to people out there, those that want to post statements, questions, reflections about this session. You talk there, and this will continue beyond this public lecture. And I must thank our communications people, because without them, we wouldn't get this visibility that we need so much, not for ourselves, but for what our institution is doing, and for the world also to learn, you know, from what we are doing. In fact, one of you said, we wish to be online. We are online as we speak. So we really are moving with the time. So there will be an opportunity to ask questions beyond this session, but this is the time now. If you want to make any reflections and so on, like I said, you have demonstrated the point I made, that it's teaching, learning, research, innovation are not unidirectional. You know, teaching can influence research, research can influence teaching. You can use research findings, you know, to develop your teaching. You can also determine your problem statements from your teaching. So it's really like very, very practical, and the programs that you have, each one of them is like a bomb, you know, like Inhectors, you know, Beehive, female entrepreneurship, Yebo. Each one of them is like a bullet. I don't know the fifth one that's coming. I don't know how is it going to be like. But really, we want to expand this program to all our campuses. We need to invest in programs of this nature, and we need to support. And critical is the transdisciplinary, cross-cutting nature of this initiative. Like they have said, everyone can be involved. You know, for me, it's something that we should be very proud of. So before we take questions, shall we give them another round of applause? Okay, question time. If your spirit is uplifted and you are a young woman who might just become an entrepreneur of tomorrow, this is your time. Okay?
Just remember, if you want to ask a question, please press the button so that we can at least get your voice across the YouTube channel. And as I said, I've got colleagues who've got very, very good answers to excellent questions. Right. Yes, and maybe your name and then your question, please.
Well, am I audible? Yes. Well, my name is nwu-pukke. I'm from Sharpeville, and I found out about the session from Facebook, and then I asked one of your partners, Nikontima. I was hoping he's going to be here, but he said he would not be here. So my question is a bit selfish. I recently just established a non-profit organization company. Our focus is on youth mentorship and also on business mentorship, and we also provide business development skills for startup entrepreneurs. So my question is, would some of my entrepreneurs be allowed to piggyback on some of the programs that you offer?
Absolutely. I mean, we are cheap.
Herman is lying. We are easy, but we're not cheap.
Thank you.
Okay, so we are actually we are really trying to make a difference there, and we deal with people like Niku Ntema and his team to make a difference there. So, yes, our plan through Inactors is to take some of our initiatives to Sharpeville and actually run it there because of the challenges around transport. But also, yes, if you want to join our Enterprising Women program, you can also do that, or some of your colleagues can. Tomorrow is our selection day, by the way. So on campus for Val and Sasol rounds. Yes. So does that answer? Thank you.
Great.
You can go to Twitter for more discussion.
Right, any other questions? Behind me is my contact number and Natanya Meyer. Natanya will be heading up the initiative to establish this as a niche area. And as you've heard, Prof Refilwe said, no. We're going to become a center of excellence. Fantastic. Please.
Thank you, Prof Herman. For those who don't know me, my name is Refilwe. I am presently quite involved in the CETAs, different CETAs. And I've just had a long conference with the Food and Bev CETA. Now we know there's 21 CETAs, they all work basically on the same basis. We were basically begged to use the SDL money from the CETAs. There's apparently more or less 500 million, a billion rand in the account of the SDL. They are now at the moment giving away special grants to NPOs that are not even contributing to the fund. So previously you could claim back at the end of the year on your training programs and so forth if you were contributing. But there's so much money in that fund at this stage that they are giving extraordinary grants to people that are qualifying as trainers, all right? Now, my suggestion is, or rather my submission is that we try to get hold of some of those funds. Apparently, according to the presenters that day, it was, it's not that difficult to get hold of the funds, although we know there's always a different story. But I believe that if we can find somebody that we can appoint that will deal specifically. Now, as you know, I'm deeply involved with the CETAs as a moderator, as a SDF, and so forth. If we can find somebody that can liaise with those people on these funds, we can get funds free. I don't exactly know the figures, so it would be difficult to mention any figures. But they would support any program at this stage to get rid of some of the finances because it's accumulating. People are not claiming back skills development levy funds. Now we know how it works. Each company pays 1% of its wage bill every month to that levy. Yet not even 30% of people are claiming back at the end of the year, because of various reasons, difficulties, people not knowing that you have skills development facilitators that can claim this money back. So my suggestion would be that we look at that at some sort of a point and appoint a skills development facilitator, because he is the only person, he or she is the only person that has the rights and trained to do the WSPs, the programs for the next year. You have to work ahead of time. In other words, you have to tell your specific CETAs what you're going to do next year, then do it, and then at the end of that year, fill in the ATRs, the annual training reports, and then you will get, we can literally get millions of rands out of this funding to fund people that can't afford, and to even jack up our facilities and so forth, and to take this program further, and maybe buy a helicopter or something for Johan and Leonie to go to. Or so I'll fly it, okay? But that's on that. The only reason why, if I can fly it. But there is a lot of money lying there, and nobody is making use of it. And that's my submission. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Vic. Now, I think we'll engage afterwards. I'm very, very interested in those special funds because we do have a workplace skills coordinator that do those workplace skills plans for us. But I think the special projects, I think that's where our Center of Excellence can be funded from. And I think we can engage afterwards just to maybe get some more details, especially maybe in Prof Refilwe's office, because she runs a very nice enterprise with regard to that. Good. Any other questions, contributions? Yes.
My name is Onika from Vaal University of Technology. I just want to ask God to bless the person who invited me to this lecture. I'm so blessed, I've learned a lot, and I'm so encouraged because I'm lecturing entrepreneurship as well, and I'm a faculty advisor of Inectas at Vaal University of Technology. So whatever that I've learned here, I'm going to take it to VUT as well. So my question is for the presenter for Inectas, because as a faculty advisor, I'm helping Inectas VUT, and then they have created a visuals office for SMEs who cannot track their operations, whether we can collaborate. I know in Inectas we've got national competitions and international competitions, but I'm asking whether can we test that visual office with your SMEs, whether female SMEs or student SMEs, the one that are operational.
I think I'm going to give it to Johan.
That is a quick move there, Annelie. Yes, I think we can collaborate because for us, in the first instance, it's about making a difference in the community. The yearly competition is very nice, but that's not our main focus. So I think we can definitely.
I think with regard to Inactus, is such a valuable, it's an international organization, such a valuable organization for us to belong to, and really making a difference in people's lives. Right, so I'm going to hand over now to, there's other questions, but please, we are available afterwards, and for any questions, you've got my mobile number as well as Natanya's, and we'll take it from there.
And please don't forget hashtag NWU research so that we make it public. You know, that is the beauty of it, because if they are contacting you just on your numbers, the only person that will benefit will be the one that contacts you. We want as many people to benefit. So let's make use of that. We're trying to use other avenues instead of spending the whole afternoon asking questions so that we are more efficient with our time. I've been very blessed, also my sister, by the comments that have been made. You know, for someone to say, I'm willing to collaborate, can you collaborate with me? Hey, money, I know where you can find the money. I mean, those are the kind of contributions that we need, and we certainly will have a very formal follow-up meeting so that we logically follow through this and exploit that opportunity. I want to recognize colleagues from IT, the two directors, the director sheikhs there, as well as one of the managers, Adele, who are also on standby to assist us. Now, we want to finish everything by 12 o'clock on the dot. A few things need to happen. One, a photo session. Two, light refreshments. And then please ensure that your name is on the attendance register. That will help us to know in future, you know, that we have people like you to invite to events or meetings of this nature so that we have more people benefiting. And after that, it will be departure. On that note, let me thank every single one of you for being here, for listening attentively. We know that you're not going to sit on this information, you are going to share. And we will also be making an invitation to other faculties, who would like to be involved, to other institutions that would like to be involved in this initiative. So this is the beginning, and certainly not the end. To our 5 presenters. Hey, what do you say? What do you say? You know, when I saw the master's student, you know, when I did my first international conference, we messed up big time. Big time. It was we were co-presenters, and the questions that came from the floor were just too much for us. So it is great to see that, you know, you have an opportunity here to share what you are going to do. It will just help you when you go out there. So colleagues, thank you so much. Let's gather outside. Let's take a beautiful pic. Let's enjoy the refreshments that have been prepared for us. And please travel safely. Thank you very much. Thank you.